Hello, 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 everybody. It looks like we're live. Oh, I'm so excited to be here with y'all today. I'm so excited to be here with y'all today. Let's see if we're live on all channels. Yes, it looks like we're live on all channels, except you can't see me. Why can't you see me? Hold on, y'all. I promise I did technology for a living. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I know, because it's a slide. It's an overlay, not a slide. Oh my goodness, y'all, forgive me. There we go. There's the slide. And here's me. Hey, y'all, it's JJ Conway. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Our lesson today, this is our fourth Thursday of the night of the month of y'all. Look, I think I'm just a little bit loopy because I done got my hair did. How y'all like my hair today? Do y'all like my hair? I want to give a shout out to Morgan at Brush and Blush Salon, and check out these nails, y'all. Now look, for those of you who don't know me, I retired from the military, from the Air Force, after 23 years, a couple years ago, and I am just now getting around to playing around with nail color and hair color and all the things I missed out on. 23 years plus 4 years at the Air Force Academy. So y'all just indulge me for a minute. I'm super excited. Can y'all see that? Look at that. A shout out to Solar Nails. It's called Chrome. And I'm sure some of the ladies are like, girl, that's been there, done that. But you know what? It's new to me, and I'm just pleased as punch. So I'm excited today. Let me give a shout out to Morgan at Brush and Blush, and then Jade at Solar Nails. They don't pay me to say that. And look, don't y'all all go run up Jade and make her unavailable for me, y'all. Okay, or Morgan. It's hard enough to schedule as it is because she's that good. All right. Anyway. Look, before we get to our lesson, and just so you know, make sure you're in the right place today. Our lesson is our fourth Thursday, the Empowered Entrepreneur. If you're new to me and my body of work, every Thursday, we have a different theme. Every first Thursday is Fireside Chat, where you can ask me your questions about money. Every second Thursday is our 7-figure business building, where we talk about different ways to build multiple streams of income. Every third Thursday is real estate. That's actually where Building Wealth Together began, was real estate investing. And every fourth Thursday is the Empowered Entrepreneur. We look at how you can be the person who has and attracts into your life what it is you want out of life. Okay. Now, this month has 5 Thursdays. Next Thursday is a wild card. We'll be heading to our annual church conference. So I'm going to give y'all a replay. Okay. Is that all right? Is that all right for JJ to give you a replay every couple of weeks, every couple of months? All right. We're going to do a replay. Hey, y'all. Hey, Ebony. Hey, y'all. I'm so excited y'all are on today. Okay. Before we get into the lesson, I want to talk about my $5,000 mistake. That's right, y'all. I'm wearing my $5,000 mistake. If you think you know why this shirt is a $5,000 mistake, I want you to drop it in the chat. I'm going to tell y'all in about 30 seconds. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat along with your Cash App. And if you are right, I'm going to send you $25 through Cash App. All right. If you don't want to put your Cash App out there, well, you can just DM me if you get the answer right. Okay. But if you think you know why this shirt is a $5,000 mistake, then you go ahead and drop it in the chat, and we'll see in about 10 seconds if you are right. Let me give people time to put stuff in the chat. Now, this shirt is something that I created way back when I first started monetizing my business, because I did free financial planning for a long time. You know, I was $800,000 in debt. So when I got out of that debt, I wanted to help other people who were in debt like I was. And so I volunteered my time for a long time. In fact, the way I got my start in financial planning was that y'all might remember this name. Some of y'all who are like me, we look a lot younger than we are. You might remember the name Larry Burkett with Christian Financial Concepts. He helped me get out of debt. Y'all, I couldn't even afford his $8 cassette tape class. Can you believe that? I couldn't afford. I had just graduated from the Air Force Academy, was a newly minted butter bar in the Air Force, made more money than both of my parents put together ever made day one, and could not afford to pay my bills, could not afford to send the man $8 for a cassette tape program on how to get out of debt. Anybody else ever been there? Like, you feel like you make too much money to be this broke? Like, you work too hard to be this broke? Y'all, let me tell you, I wasn't going to share this, but I think that somebody needs to be encouraged today. I remember when I went to set up my very first little apartment. My coworkers over here and my coworkers over there, we're all at our first base. We're all getting our first little grown-up apartments, like feeling ourselves, got a little paycheck. Woo, we thought we were something. Y'all remember those days when you thought you were so grown that you had arrived? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, I get in there and I'm in Kmart with the rest of them. I got my buggy full of stuff for my new apartment. I got sheets, I got pots, I got all the things, right? So I get up to the checkout, and of course, I don't have $1,000, but it's coming. I'm in the Air Force. I'm good for it. Can't you see my uniform, right? And so I applied for their credit. This was back when I still used credit cards for my daily purchases. Y'all, I applied for credit and they turned me down. And they didn't just turn me down, okay? They didn't just slyly and politely, I'm sorry, man, but your credit has been declined, right? Like they said, okay, we're going to have you wait in the store for about 30 minutes while we approve it. Shouldn't be a problem, but we just have some formalities. And the next thing you know, 30 minutes later, I'm shopping in the store and over the loudspeaker, my name, my last, I hadn't changed my last name yet. I had gotten married, but I hadn't changed my name because it was my very first apartment, like day one, right? Like the paperwork still had to catch up to there. They're like, Mrs. Janine John, would you please come in? And we're sorry to report that your credit has been denied. Would you please come and remove your stuff, or something to that effect? All I heard was my name and your credit has been denied. And I was like over the loudspeaker, y'all, with my coworkers also shopping for their very first apartment. Y'all, I was so embarrassed, and my credit had been declined because we had just gotten married a couple of weeks before that, and not only back then your spouse's credit messed up your credit, but we put a lot of expenses for the wedding that my mom was going to pay for on the credit card because at the last minute her air conditioning broke. And y'all, we don't mess with no air conditioning in Florida, okay? Anybody want to talk about humidity? We don't do no air conditioning. So mom paid for the fix the air conditioning, and we paid for the credit with the credit card for the wedding. Don't do that. Okay, if you get in that situation, don't do that. So I'm like brand new, got this big job, make more money than anybody I knew. Now it wasn't true, but I didn't know I had other family members that made more money, so I didn't know that back then. And I can't even get my stuff to set up my apartment. Y'all, I went to the base thrift store and got me a pot and a knife and called it good. Because my ex was at a different duty station, so he got all the wedding gifts. I mean, what kind of planning was that, anyway, so I needed to get out of debt. Clearly this was not going to work for your girl, so I call up Christian Financial Concepts. They've been helping people get out of debt forever, and guess what they said? Okay, just send us an $8 donation and we will send you the cassette tape thing. And I'm like, I don't have $8. $8 was a lot of money back then. Anybody remember when $8 was a lot of money? Like my groceries for the month were about $40 a month. Okay, so $8 was a lot. And so let me go talk to my boss. And so here's what the boss said. This is what Mr. Larry Burkett said. Okay, young lady, I will send you this cassette tape program, but you got to promise you're going to help somebody else get out of debt once you've completed the program. And I said, yes, sir. And I found out back in 1998, hey, I was good at this. I'm good at helping people get out of debt. And so I've been doing that for free for a long time. But when I decided to start charging, I was grasping on to anything that would help me make it big. Because everybody says, go big or go home, right? You go to the conferences and you big splash, and you buy the sponsorships, and you buy the Facebook ads, and you buy the Google ads, and you buy all the things, and the dust settles. And guess what? You got nothing. And that's why this shirt, I didn't see it. I haven't seen it yet in the chat. And if you put it in the chat and I'm just not seeing it, make sure you PM me, all right? But it needs to be, let's see what time it is. Okay, I see what time it is. It got to be date stamped before I give this announcement. So I think, okay, you know what I need? I need to go big or go home. I I need to bet on me. I need to take a chance on me. Because you know what they say. If you don't take a chance on you, nobody else will, right? That's what they say. We hear it at all the big meetings. We pull out that credit card out of our pocket. We go, boom, right? So I, the brand child, said, I'm going to take a chance on me. I go to this financial convention every year to learn how to do this thing and make money. So I'm going to go to this conference, and everybody likes the t-shirts. So I'm going to make some t-shirts, and I'm going to hand out the t-shirts, and people are going to wear the t-shirt with my website, and y'all, I'm going to make lots of money, right? Because hey, everybody else at this conference is teaching people how to get out of debt. So of course they're going to wear a Think and Grow Rich t-shirt, aren't they? And it's a black t-shirt. Y'all, I didn't skimp on the t-shirts now. I got some good quality. None of these cheapy white t-shirts that fall apart after one wash. I wanted people to wear this shirt for years to come. Y'all, some of you who've been in business for a long time, you are laughing at young me right now. You are laughing at young JJ Conway, who really thought she was going to get her competitors to wear a shirt with her name, not only on the front, but y'all, on the back as well. Oh, I don't have a space to turn around, but on the back as well. Got my brand and my website on the back. Y'all, that was... They took the shirts because they were rolled up and they were black shirts, and y'all, black shirts are a precious commodity because everybody else goes cheap, right? Oh man, I was throwing them shirts. One of my friends from the Air Force, she came and she was helping me throw those shirts. I mean, we were throwing, we were having a good time, but I thought I was gonna come home to all this business. Still waiting on that business. It's been years, y'all. So anyway, that's why this is my $5,000 mistake shirt. I didn't quite spend $5,000 on the shirts, but when you add up everything I spent to be able to give out the shirts and be at the conference to give out the shirts, $5,000 mistake that absolutely profited me nothing. Okay. And the reason I was going to tell you all this story before I looked at my calendar to see what we were teaching tonight, because we have a calendar. You go to Building Wealth Together on Facebook. You join our Facebook group and you'll see the list of all the different classes that we have scheduled out for the year. Y'all, we don't play around with this thing. We come correct. I do a poll at the end of the year and I teach what the highest, what people want the most out of those classes. So you can go out and find it. But when I looked at the class, I said, oh, this is so perfect, because what I'm going to talk to you about in the next 20 or so minutes is going to be working genius. You can hear in my voice that I get energetic and excited about ideas, that I love, love, love ideas. You can also tell from that story that back in the day, I was all idea and very poor on detailed execution, because either I had the great idea, got excited about it, started churning on it, and never finished it, or I had the great idea but didn't think through all the details and made a $5,000 mistake. Okay. And so when we talk about working genius, I want you to think about where it is your strengths lie. And maybe you're like me today. You got some really amazing strengths. There is nobody I know that can come up with ideas and generate things and operate under pressure the way that I can when it comes to my business. Okay. Because I can come up with the ideas and I can move on the fly and I can make it happen. Right. Well, everybody doesn't have that skill set. So if you do have that skill set, don't start celebrating yet, because I had to learn to stop creating last minute situations, because everybody else on my team doesn't do last minute. But me, I get excited. I get energized about last minute. And so then I'm ready to go. Right. But they're like, So I had to learn how to build some time in, because other people have other strengths. And if I need other people to be on my team so I can harness the power of their strengths and they can harness the power of my strengths, then I had to learn how to accommodate other people's strengths, other people's passions, other people's genius. And so that's what we're going to talk about in the time that we have left tonight. So let me go ahead and call up my slides. All right, let me go ahead and call up our slides. And like I said earlier, this is the Empowered Entrepreneur, and our discussion today is on harnessing the power of your working genius. Let me go back. Let me go back on it. And if you are listening to this as part of the Building Wealth Together podcast, and you're like, hey, I want the rest of this discussion on working genius, then I want you to go. It's for those of you who are watching me live, it's on the bottom of the screen, jjclink.com/genius. I want you to go out there and register for our class. that I'm going to go into more detail on this. But if you missed the class, reach out to me because I would love, love, love to bring this to your company or bring it just to you one-on-one. All right. This is, if I had had somebody with another type of genius on my team, they could have recommended I do something like I do now. When I make t-shirts now, my name might be on it somewhere, but it's not going to have my name. It's not going to have my brand. It's going to send people to something that's complementary to what my competitors are doing. And it's going to have a phrase on it that's going to be compatible with something my competitors would want to wear. So for example, one of the things that I've done in the past is let me show you how to win with money. All of my competitors teach people how to win with money. So of course they want to do that, And so then what you put on the back is you put something, then you put a website, you put a landing page, you put some kind of detail that your competitors are not going to be upset to wear and broadcast because they see the shirt and it generates discussion. Okay. And so just a little tidbit. If I'd have y'all, if I'd have understood that I can't do it all by myself, if I had understood that would, they always say it's an African proverb when they don't want to or don't know how to attribute it. But that African proverb of if you want to go far, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. If I had just known how much benefit I would get to having other people on my team, y'all, I wouldn't have made that mistake. Okay. So now let's go ahead and look at this. I think y'all are going to enjoy this today. All right. I think you're going to enjoy this today. And if you hang with me, I know this is a little bit intellectual today, but you know what? We're intelligent here today. We're not dumb. We may have different ways of learning. We may have different styles, but we are all created in his image. And that means we all have our own type of genius. And when you begin to understand your genius and understand other people's genius, it does a couple things for you. One, it helps you to be more powerful in the spaces that you play in. Two, it helps you appreciate more who you are. So then you don't have to tear down other people, which then leads to three, it allows you to be able to work in collaboration with others so that everybody can build wealth together. Woo. All right. I mean, let me get to this. I'm so excited. But it honestly doesn't take that long to explain these. So I'm not gonna feel too bad for talking. All right. So the very first genius that I want to talk about is the genius of wonder. Can y'all see that? If y'all can see that, drop me some likes and loves. I want to make sure you can see the slide and hear me clearly. Okay. So just let me know, put I see you or I hear you or something like that. Well, yeah, I hear you in the slides or in the chat or something. But the first genius is wonder. And with wonder, the genius of wonder, it's about asking questions. It's about asking why things are the way they are. These people enjoy thoughtfully looking around, see what's going on, and trying to figure out if there's a better way. This is not the most observable genius. Okay. So what I mean by that, let me go back to me. Okay, so this is not the most observable genius. This isn't the one that you see broadcast out front, right? But you can pick up on it because they're the people that always ask the questions. Like, I just don't know if this is the way it should be. Are we asking the right question? Is there another thing we can try? It's really kind of an eternal observation, and then looking around and seeing, okay, can I make this better? Is there a better way to do this? Is there a right way to do this? And we all know there's no one right way, but there's often, let's be real here, there's often a lot of better ways to do things that many of us haven't considered because we are so stuck in our old ways, or we haven't allowed our mental imagination and capacity to be expanded yet to be able to actually consider new possibilities. Okay, so one of the big benefits of the genius of wonder is having somebody who is willing to ask those big questions, and then prompt others to really challenge the assumptions that might be holding them back, really challenge the status quo. The funny thing is even though, these are people who are trying to make things better, a lot of times people are like, man, she's always asking why not? Why aren't they ever satisfied with the way things are? Oh no, they're off dreaming again. And so you know that if you are the kind of person that what I'm talking about comes naturally to you, it actually gives you energy and joy, then that is something that would be what we would call your working genius. Now, if it's something that you do, you're good at, but it's not really your most most fabulousness, like you can ask those questions, but man, after a while it drains your energy, then that's something we might call your working competency. You can do it, but it's not your jam. All right. And so then there's another category we have is working frustration. That means this makes you mad. This makes you irritable. You don't like that. You don't like being around people who do this. And it just, oh my goodness, I'm not good at it. I don't enjoy it. I do not. Look, how many of us don't like rocking the boat? Okay. I'm gonna be real. We're in a class called the Empowered Entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs, by definition, it's almost like they pump something into your blood. When you say you're gonna be an entrepreneur, you want to rock the boat. You want to be a disruptor. You want to make things happen because that's what you're doing. You're covering your own way, right? But even in entrepreneurship, a lot of us don't like to rock the boat. So if you're the person that I'm describing asking all these questions, and you're like, no, 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 please, I wish those people would just be quiet in the meeting so we can get the meeting over with. That might be your working frustration. Okay. All right. The next competency we're going to talk about today is the next working genius we're going to talk about today is the working genius of invention. Now, this one is about coming up with novel ideas. This is the person that always comes up with these creative ways to solve problems and address issues. They think of, they can come up with a bunch of different things. They don't need a whole lot of direction. Nobody has to give them a lot of prompting. Here's a problem, figure out ways to solve it. And they usually are very confident, and they're very inspired by a problem that has no apparent solution, right? Like they actually get joy and energy from the opportunity to take a crack at it. And so, there's a lot of really good benefits to having a working genius of invention. And so, anything related to innovation, novel thinking, original problem solving, you could probably gather from how I talk and how I act that I absolutely work in the genius of invention and also wonder. Okay. And so invention being my primary genius, the thing is for me, like I recently moved to a rural area, and getting involved with some of our city politics and things like that, understanding some of the city and county level problems that our leaders are addressing. I'm like, ooh, a problem. Ooh, I get to try to find a creative way to solve this. Like, to me, I get all energized. And if you approach a problem and you're like, yes, let's try and solve this. What can I do about this? And you think about it, you get energized, you get all excited, and then you don't do any of your other work that you're supposed to be doing because you're so excited by this idea that you're trying to solve. This might be your working genius. Now, on the other hand, if you are the kind of person who are you're like, well, okay, I can do this. I can come up with new ideas if I have to, but man, it drains me after a while. I can do it. It's okay, but it's not really my jam. Then this might be what we call your working competency. You can do it, but it doesn't give you the energy that could allow you to sustain doing it forever. Okay. Now, if I'm talking to you about all these things, about these problems, and I get a chance to come up with a problem, come up with a solution for a problem that nobody's got a solution to, if just that sentence alone frustrates you, scares you, makes you anxious, makes you be like, I'm not, no, no. And you look at those kinds of challenges as problems instead of opportunities. This might be what we call your working frustration. And I really want to talk to you for just a second and validate you. See, in the entrepreneurial world, a lot of times we want to categorize things in certain languaging. And one of those languages is that, hey, these problems, they are opportunities. Don't look negatively, be positive. Positive think and grow rich, right? We got to think positively, strongly desire, and chase after it with everything in us, right? But honestly, some of us look at these kinds of problems that seem unsolvable, and they drain us and they exhaust us. And oh my goodness, I don't want to deal. Can I just go to work and do what I'm supposed to do and pay me my money and give me my time off? All right. And so if that's you today, this would be your working frustration, and it's okay. I want to let you know it's okay. All right. It's okay. It's okay. You might have a different type of working genius. Okay. So you'll know people who have this kind of working genius because they're always like, "Oh, I got an idea. Hey, what about this? Oh, here's something that might work." It sounds like JJ Conway, doesn't it? And here's the thing that other people think, and this was actually really hard for me to understand, that you think you're helping the situation a lot, and other people, they're always coming up with new ideas even when we don't ask for one. And so sometimes we have to understand that, everybody doesn't have that, but we all need this kind of person on our team. Otherwise we get stagnant and we don't grow, and we don't innovate. Okay. All right, all right. So the next type of working genius that we want to talk about today. I hope y'all are enjoying this. If you're enjoying this, let me know what you're getting out of this in the chat. I want to hear what you're enjoying about this. All right. I want to know what's resonating with you, and I want to know what you would like me to spend more time on next time. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So the next one is discernment. And the genius of discernment, this is being able to make good judgments relying on instinct and intuition. Okay. So, we, a lot of times we talk about discernment being a spiritual thing. And, a lot of my spiritual leaders talk about discernment about, really discernment is a gift of observation and recognizing patterns and really understand more of an in how do I want to say that? How do I want to say that? More of an interpretive thinking rather than a logical step by step thinking, but there is a logical recognition of power of patterns. When I see this thing keep happening, this is going this way. When I see this keep happening, it's going that way. And so, but it's more of a internal judgment, and you almost can't even describe it. But your eyes, your ears, everything about you that you sense takes everything in, and then you might even add in sensing in the spiritual world, and out somehow comes the right answer. Out somehow comes what's going to happen. Out somehow comes the wisdom that people like me need so they don't make $5,000 mistakes. Although that one doesn't take a whole lot of discernment, that one just took a little bit of experience. And so these people with discernment, they have a knack for, and they derive energy and joy from evaluating whether or not an idea is sound. Now I want you to hear me on this, okay? They love to take an idea and really analyze, not I don't want to say analyze like it's a scientific thing, but they really love to play with it and see if it's going to work or not work. Okay. But see, you got people like me who are like the idea people. Oh, we're going to go do this. We're going to do this. And the last thing we want is somebody coming on in and raining in our parade. Well, what about that? And what about this? And what about this? And when are you going to do that? And I don't think that's going to work. Or a lot of times with discernment, people are like, but they can't even tell you why it's not going to work. The person with wonder might ask a ton of questions about whether or not it's going to work. But the person with discernment, they're just going to be like, but they get enjoyment out of that, out of that evaluation. And so what you're going to find with a lot of people, like the kinds of things that somebody who has a genius of discernment, they're going to be like, that's a great idea. That's not going to work. Tell me more about that. I think you're onto something. Ooh, I think I know what we need to change. Okay. And so the funny thing is you really need people like this on your team. But a lot of times, people, they feel like people who have the genius of discernment. This is what they say about them. Oh, they got the best advice. I always trust their gut. They always know if it's good or bad. They've got great judgment and great taste about everything. Like those are good things, right? But sometimes people get frustrated because they just want to be right. And they don't want you rated on their parade. So if I'm talking about this discernment, and it seems like it really comes natural to you, gives you a lot of energy and joy, this may be your working genius. Okay. This may be where you really can serve and where you can use your talents the most. If it's something where like, okay, well, you operate in discernment from time to time, but oh my goodness, it's exhausting after a while. I mean, you can do it. It's okay. But man, I really wish someone else would step up so I don't have to do this kind of thing. It's just. Then this might be what we would call your working competency. You can do it, but it's not your jam. All right. Then we have the working frustration side of it. For some of you, you've been listening to me like, oh my goodness, this frustrates and drains me. I'm not good at it, or I just don't enjoy it. And if that's you today, it's okay. That's your working frustration. So just keep that in mind as we go along. All right. Now, this next genius we're going to talk about is the genius of galvanizing. And the genius of galvanizing, this is really about rallying and motivating people around projects, ideas, initiatives. I mean, people with the gift of galvanizing. Ooh, they get joy and energy from inspiring and persuading others to take action to get things moving, even if it means convincing them to rethink or change their plans. Galvanizing is kind of easy to identify because it is a very observable thing. You know the people that are good at getting everybody together, and galvanizing is usually very public. So whereas wonder, when we talked about it before, wonder, really kind of examining processes and stuff, can be more done internally in your head. And galvanizing is more, I'm getting everybody together, and I'm pushing this movement, so there's a lot of benefits about this, because if you can nurture people's excitement about an idea, now you can build energy for it, and you can get the momentum that the program needs to succeed. And everybody can't do that. Okay, some things you'll know, excuse me, some things you'll hear from somebody who has the genius of galvanizing. They're going to say things like, come on, everybody, it's a huge opportunity. Come on, let's get going. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Are y'all on board on this? Come on, are you on board on this? What do we need to make this succeed? Hey, does everybody here understand what's going on? Why we need to do this? Why it's so important? And they're like energetic about it, and they're going to get you motivated and get you going. And the next thing you know, you're like, why am I in this crowd holding a sign? Because somebody in your circle is a very galvanizing person, and they got you there, and they motivated you to show up and show out. And sometimes, rallying people and inspiring them to take action around ideas, projects, tasks. When you want to make a change, you need somebody to galvanize. The problem for a lot of us as entrepreneurs is, guess who has to galvanize ourselves? Ourselves, right? But if you've got a team, if you've got a team, you need somebody on the team to help galvanize, because if you don't ever change, if you don't ever adapt, if you don't ever innovate, you're gonna wither and die. And our world is progressing at a faster and faster rate, and companies are failing by the wayside every minute of every day. Another company is closing its doors. Don't let it be yours. Ooh, that rhyme. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Yeah. Okay. So if this is something you naturally do, like you naturally find yourself getting people together, you naturally find yourself getting people energized and motivated to accomplish a task. You may not always have the idea, but once you hear the idea and why it's important, you can get everybody rallied together and you get it done. This would be what we would call your working genius. All right. Now, maybe today you're somebody who, like, well, you can do it if you have to, and you got a team that you manage at work, and you get them on board with the boss's new plan if you got to. But man, it's draining. You go home and you're drained. You got the job done, but you're drained. It's just not your jam. Well, then we would call this your working competency. You could do it, but it's not your thing. It's not energizing to you. It's just something you almost have to recover from. Now, if you are the kind of person who the thought of trying to motivate people and get a crowd on board is just absolutely frustrating and draining to you, either because you're not good at it or because you just don't like it, well, then we would call this your working frustration. Okay. And we call this your working frustration. There's nothing right or wrong about that. Everybody has their working genius, everybody has their working competency, and everybody has their working frustration. Okay. The trick is figure out which ones you're the strongest in, maximize those, and minimize the others, and let other people be on your team that got the other competencies. All right. The other geniuses. Okay. All right. The next one we want to talk about, and this is often overlooked by entrepreneurs, is enablement. Okay. And the reason this is often overlooked by entrepreneurs is because, again, like I was saying in the challenging, challenges the status quo topics, entrepreneurs tend to be people who wanted to do their own thing because they wanted to do their own thing. They didn't want to go along to get along. They didn't want to not rock the boat. They didn't want to not be, they wanted to be a disruptor. They want to rock the boat. They know that by rocking the boat, I'm going to find the next big thing and profit from it, right? Like they know that in order to move forward in the world and get more of what the world, what the profit has to offer, we got to adapt and we got to overcome and we got to change, and change is hard, and change is disruptive, and changes not always harmonious with everybody you grew up with who doesn't want to change. Okay. So by nature, most of the people who are watching me or listening to me today, if you're listening as part of the podcast, the Building Wealth Together podcast, most of the people who are listening to me today are not going to resist, or excuse me, they are not going to fall into this category. But that doesn't mean they might not. Okay. So what enablement talks about, the genius of enablement, these are the people who answer the call to action. The galvanizers raise the call to action. The enablers answer the call, and they provide others with the unconditional support and assistance they need. People with this genius get energy and joy from providing others with the support they need to get something started, or by providing the human glue that is required to hold it together. And so these are folks, these are folks that are absolutely ideal team members. But I want to give you a caution, okay? Because if this is you, um, people often, and it's also the enablers themselves. So team members and enablers often discount this genius because, oh, well, they're just the nice people. They're just the nice ones, and they're always ready to work, and they're always ready to help, and they're always ready to do whatever. But see, this is a very valuable genius, because if we don't have a good morale on our team, you might burn fast, but it might just be a flash in the pan. And I'm not here to be a flash in the pan. I'm trying to build generational wealth. In order to build generational wealth, I got to have something that sustains, right? In order for us to build generational wealth, we got to have something that lasts past our emotions and past our energy and past our will. So we need people, whether they're on our team, employees, contractors, fill in the blank. We need people who can be the human glue to hold everything together and keep the things going, who can also make sure that the employees have higher morale and make sure that people have better interpersonal support. Entrepreneurs as a definition tend to be very poor in personal support because they're busy bootstrapping their business, and they don't have time for anybody who isn't moving at the speed of thought, right? And then we go to the conferences and we go to the entrepreneur boot camps, and they teach the same thing. Go, 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 cut everything loose and go, 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 go. Well, you can, you can go fast if you go alone, but if you want to go far, you got to go together. All right. And so it's very important to have people on our team or around us with the genius of enablement. These are the kind of people who, they hear enough, they're like, I'm in, and they're saying, how can I help? And while I'll support, sign me up. This is exciting. Well, I want to help make this successful. What do you need? That's the genius of enablement. And not everybody is good with that. Okay. And then you've got people who want to help, but they're not good at help. I might resemble that remark sometimes. I'm much better now than I was. I'm a work in progress, y'all. I know you are too. Okay. So the thing is a lot. We don't want to underestimate this gift. And if you are an entrepreneur who operates in the genius of enablement, I am going to encourage you to examine what you are doing as an entrepreneur and ensure that it is harnessing the power of your gift. You can still have the gift of enablement and be in charge of a multi-million-dollar company. Your path may just be slightly different from other entrepreneurs who need enablers on their team, but don't necessarily operate in that genius. And the thing that I want for you is to know that it's okay It's okay to carve your path and to operate in your genius. It's what you were created to do. It's when the money will flow in. Are some of you understanding now why the money is not flowing into your business? It's not because you're not doing everything you're supposed to do. You might be doing everything you're supposed to do. You're doing the lives, you're doing the ads, you're going to the conferences, you're spending the time, you're getting the reps in, but you're not getting the results. It may be that you're not operating in your working genius. Okay. So now when I talk about helping people and enabling others to get the job done, you people will often talk about, oh, that person is the best team player we ever had. I don't know what we would do if it weren't for you. They really know how to help make things happen. That's the kind of things that people say about folks who operate in this working genius. And so if it comes naturally to you, then this may be your working genius. If you're the kind of person like, well, I can help, I can support, I can make sure everybody has what they need to succeed, but it really drains me. And at the end of the day, I got to go home and I got to relax and recharge because, it's a lot. Well, this may be something you can do, but it's not your jam. We would call this your working competency. On the other hand, if the thought of supporting others and enabling others to do what they got to do to get the program over absolutely frustrates and exhausts you, either you're not good at it or maybe you just don't like it, that's what we would call your working frustration. So if this is a working frustration, you might want to invite some people who have this as their working genius to be on your team. All right. Okay. Let me click on it. There we go. The last working competency we're going to talk about today, the last of them, period, is the genius of tenacity. And this is about execution, okay? It involves getting things done, achieving results, realizing the desired impact of a task or project. People with tenacity derive real joy and energy from crossing tasks off a list and knowing that they met the standards for completion. Oh, y'all, how many of y'all with me? How many? Wait. Let me see a show of hands. Give me a like or a love if you were with me on this. Like you love crossing it off that list. You look, if you forget to put something on the list, you go back and write it on the list after you finish it, just so you can go and cross it off. Anybody with me today? Come on, don't leave me hanging. I know I can't possibly be alone on this. All right. This is the working genius of tenacity. What is that phrase? I don't stop when I'm tired. I stop when I'm done. That's tenaciousness. That's tenacity. That's you if this is your working genius. All right. These folks absolutely got to have them on the team because you know what? Your idea people tend to get tired. The idea people, they come up with the ideas. They want somebody else. They don't want to be in the weeds with it. Okay. The cool thing about the genius of tenacity is that these are people who are comfortable pushing through obstacles. And so it really benefits to have this genius because you make sure that goals are met, projects are completed on time, even when the inevitable problems of life and challenges of entrepreneurship surface. Okay. So if you have the genius of tenacity, you might be saying, hey, this has got to get done. We're going to get done. We're going to raise our standards. I'm concerned we're not going to hit our deadline. And the biggest one of all, y'all, this is one of the biggest downfalls of people with the working genius of tenacity. Here, let me handle it. Anybody with me today? I know y'all do that. I know y'all do that because we hamstring our own businesses because we're just like so tired of waiting for somebody else to do it half as good as we can. We just do it ourselves. All right. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what other people say about somebody who has this genius is, well, they don't want to hear any excuses. Man, they don't get in their way. They're going to do whatever it takes to get the job done. Failure is not in their vocabulary. All right. So, this area of genius, if it comes naturally to you, like you are naturally going to get stuff done no matter what happens. If you said it, you're going to do it. You said your word is your bond and you're going to make it happen and you're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. If that comes naturally to you and gives you energy and joy, you love getting the thing done, crossing it off your list. This might be your working genius. On the other hand, If this is something you can do when you've got to, you can manage the team and push the project through and you can get things done. But oh my goodness, it's so draining. Oh, I just got to go home and recharge now. I mean, I'm glad we got the job done, but wow, that took a lot out of me. If that's you today, when you hear me talk about tenacity, this might be your working competency. It's something you could do, but it's not your jam. All right. Then we have the people that this is your working frustration. I'm talking about this getting stuff done. And you're like, I wish all the people who are hard taskmasters would get out of my life. And I don't like being that person to somebody else. It's one of my greatest frustrations. Either you're not good at it, or maybe it's because you just don't like it, or maybe even both. We would call this your working frustration. Okay. And so when we put all of those together, now you can begin to have a picture of who you are and where your genius is best used, where your power is best used. You might be somebody today. You might be somebody today who has the genius of wonder. You ask the clarifying questions to make sure we're always doing things better, right? You might be somebody today that has the working genius of invention. You take the ideas and the challenges in the process, and you find a way to make it happen. I was in the Air Force for 23 years as a scientist. I have both a science degree and an engineering degree. And one of the things I found is scientists dream stuff up, and the engineers put the duct tape and the screwdriver to make it happen. All right, and so you got two different disciplines there. You might be the person who's galvanizing. Somebody else came up with the idea. Somebody else worked out the process. Now you rally everybody around it. Right, right. You might be the person. You might be the person today that excuse me, you might be the person today that's enabling everybody else. You might be the person who's enabling everybody else to actually get it done. All right. You might be the person who's actually, or I think I missed one. Yeah. Okay. Forgive me, y'all. So somebody came up with the idea. Somebody challenged the status quo. Okay, so I'm working these in order. Somebody challenged the status quo. That's the genius of wonder. Somebody came up with a new way to do it. That's the genius of inventing. Somebody, oh, excuse me. Okay, that's the genius of inventing, right? Somebody came evaluated the idea and made sure it was a good idea and made sure the process was a good idea. That's the genius of discernment, right? Then you got people who are going to galvanize everybody and get them on board, so they're actually going to want to do this thing, right? That's the genius of galvanizing. Then you've got the enabling people that are going to support, make sure this one has what they need, this one has what they need. How can I help get the job done? That's the genius of enablement. And then you've got the people who are like, okay, we're 2 months into this and everybody's tired of them. We want to move on to the next thing. No, we getting this done. That's the genius of tenacity. So you can see how all of them work together. And so I would encourage you today, if this is really exciting to you and you want to learn more about it and you want to learn more about your personal working genius, I encourage you to get the little link there at the bottom of the page, jjclink.com/genius. That's jjclink.com/genius. You look at that link at the bottom of the page, you click on that. We're going to have a Zoom workshop next week, Wednesday, the 28th of June at 10 o'clock Central. You'll be able to jump in. And if you miss that, what you'll find is, especially if you're listening to this as the podcast, because the podcast probably won't be produced until well after the class, but you'll find a landing page where you can go get the recording. Okay. And so, you want to go ahead and get that. You want to dig into this a little deeper and look for ways to really harness your genius, your power, your strengths. Too many of us waste too much time trying to mitigate and improve on our weaknesses. And I want to encourage you today as an entrepreneur, as an empowered entrepreneur. It's okay to not be amazing at everything. I am incredibly awesome. I am incredibly amazing. I am one of the most awesome people and amazing people you will ever meet. But guess what? I've been living here for 3 years and I still use GPS to find my way around. And y'all, there ain't but 3 streets. Okay, there might be a little bit of exaggeration, but the whole town is like 20 minutes from tip to tip. My husband, he can drive through Dallas, the Metroplex, like with 100 million people. He can drive through something one time and know how to do it for the rest of his life. Okay. Everybody's got different talents. Doesn't make you any less awesome. Doesn't make you any less amazing. Doesn't make you any less successful. It's about figuring out where your strengths are, harnessing the power of your strengths, and then delegating to somebody else the things that you are not so good at, and bringing people on your team and wait, allowing them to speak into your life. Now, if you came late and you don't know why I'm holding this shirt up, you make sure you go back and watch the replay. Or if you're listening to part 2 of the podcast, make sure you get part 1, because I talk about this $5,000 mistake shirt that my husband just happened to pull out last night. He was like, "Hey, remember this?" And I was like, "Ah!" So we've got to be able to have people on my team. See, he wasn't on my team real good back then. He wasn't on my team real good back then. He was quasi on the team. I would let him buy me some food. I would let him take me out to the ball game. But I hadn't given him authority to speak into my life yet, y'all. Y'all ever have people like that? You got people in your life with working geniuses that complement where you have working frustrations, and they just want to speak into your life, but you've been so hurt. You haven't been supported. You don't know if you can trust anybody. I'm telling you today, there is somebody somewhere that can help elevate you, and they are standing by waiting to pour into you. And if you don't have that person in your life, make sure you are on my workshop next week so that I can support you and I can help elevate you, because it is time for us to get out of the poverty and generational cycles where somebody makes it big and the next generation disappears at all. I know my grammar is not right today, but I'm tired and I'm passionate, and sometimes grammar just falls by the wayside. See, look, I don't have a working genius of grammar. Wrote 13 books, but I don't have a working genius of grammar. It's called editors. Okay. So I want to encourage you today. Allow other people to pour into you. And if the people in your life that you've been allowing to pour into you are doing nothing but tear you down, go look somewhere else. Get on Facebook, go to my Facebook group, Build Wealth with JJ. Join our Building Wealth Together group and get surrounded by people who absolutely want you to succeed. Because I know one thing, a rising tide lifts all boats. And if I'm doing well, you're doing well, we're doing well. That means our children will do well. That means my children's children will do well. And that's what it's all about. All right, y'all. Let me see if we've got some any questions in the comments. I don't see any questions in the comments. I forgot to post how y'all can ask your questions. So we just gonna skip the questions today. But if you have a question and you're hearing this after the fact, either through the podcast or through the YouTube or Facebook or whatever, you can go to askjjc.com. You can ask your question and I'll catch you next Thursday. All right, y'all. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for being here today. Y'all take care and be blessed.